California has 746 convicted murderers, rapists, and torturers on death row, the highest number in the nation by more than 300 inmates.
Since the death penalty was reestablished in 1973, however, only 13 have actually been put to death, which leaves a lot of victims' families waiting for justice to be served and asking, why have a death penalty if sentences are not carried out?
Amanda Starrantino's been looking into the backlog and a couple of proposals that could change the debate on that. She joins us live in the studio. Amanda?
Yes, exactly, Dan. And on the 2012 ballot, a measure to abolish the death penalty was beat by just 4%. And looking forward to 2016, you can expect to see two measures, one to again ask voters to abolish the death penalty, the other to reform it, to bring swifter justice for victims' families. And it's fueling the flames of an already heated debate.
What redeeming grace could you expect from this individual? And why would you want this individual back in society, maybe living next door to you?
It was a foggy night in Davis, California, back in December 1980. John Riggins and Sabrina Gonzalez, both freshmen at UC Davis, were on their way to a family birthday party. The couple never made it. 3 days later, their murdered bodies were found in a ditch. And it wasn't until 2013 when Richard Hirschfield was finally tried and convicted for the Sweetheart murders and given a sentence of death.
That's John and that's Sabrina.
Kate and Richard Riggins are just one of thousands of families who have lived through the terror of losing a loved one to murder.
They have deliberately and cruelly destroyed another human being. And they do need to have some way that an ultimate punishment can take place.
San Quentin State Prison in the San Francisco Bay Area, the home to all California's death row inmates. Single cells, a cot, and 3 meals a day. Of the 746 convicted, 3 cases are out of San Luis Obispo County and 10 are out of Santa Barbara County. And of these, there's Rex Krebs, Richard Benson, and Ryan Hoyt. The upcoming 2016 election, though, could shake things up. 2 capital punishment initiatives have been submitted to the state attorney general for review. The Death Penalty Reform and Savings Act would keep and speed up executions, while the Justice That Works Act of 2016 would replace execution with life without parole. According to the Justice That Works Act, California has spent $4 billion on the death penalty system.
Or that it's vastly cheaper to eliminate the death penalty.
San Luis Obispo criminal defense attorney Jeff Stein agrees with this abolishment act, saying it would save the state $1 billion in 5 years without even releasing a prisoner into society.
We're the only modern country in the world as the only place where the death penalty is a common event. It doesn't have any positive effect for making society safer.
But San Luis Obispo County District Attorney Dan Dow is one of many California DAs and law enforcement officials standing behind the Death Penalty Reform and Savings Act.
The victims deserve finality in that particular case.
Currently, it takes 5 or more years for capital defendants to be appointed an appellate lawyer. This act would create a prompt appeals process.
When the facts warrant a verdict of death, they need to make sure that we're not delayed by loopholes or really a broken system.
It's a broken system, leaving broken families,
Sabrina's mother, and then Kate and myself,
waiting for justice.
I sort of smile when I think about, oh, well, it's so inhumane. I've often thought, well, if you think it's inhumane, why don't you dispatch them with the same method that they dispatch their victims? They certainly felt that was good for them. By injection, they just an operation in which they were put to sleep, except you just wouldn't wake up. And I'm all in favor of that.
And the Riggins family tells me if Hirschfield is executed or not, closure will never be in sight with losing their son. However, they do plan on standing with the Death Penalty Reform and Savings Act with the hope for justice in their son's name. And both initiatives are active and pending review, but enough funding and signatures is still needed for both measures before they can be put on the 2016 ballot. Back to you guys.
So Amanda, real quickly, why the backlog? Why has there not been more death sentences carried out?
Great question, Dan. There's a ton of people on death row in California, the most in the nation, and it's because in 2006, lethal injections were actually came into question. So federal court did essentially put death penalties on hold. But now the problem isn't that anymore. It's the fact that there just are not enough lawyers who want to take on death penalty cases. So both of these proposed measures would fix that.
All right, thank you for that. Well, the proposed measures can be found on our website at ksby.com, along with more information on capital punishment.
And by the way, as of airtime, Santa Barbara District Attorney Joyce Dudley had not responded to our request for her stance on the death penalty.